Batman fights Xenomorphs in the Batman Aliens crossover on this week's episode of Comic History. What's up guys, Roman from RNS Entertainment here with another episode of Comic History, the weekly series where I explain, comment on, and retell the iconic storylines, origins, and events in the world of comics. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Batman Aliens crossover, a really random, self-contained story in which Batman teams up with a special ops group in the Mexican jungle to fight xenomorph aliens from the classic sci-fi horror Aliens franchise. Batman Aliens is a good example of a crossover between two highly disparate franchises done right. It's fun, it showcases the main aspects of both franchises and characters, and it wraps up in a way that could fit into the continuity of either, but doesn't have to. They even followed up with a sequel to Batman Aliens in 2003, which we may talk about in a future video. Batman Aliens begins with Batman parachuting into the swamps of the Mexican Guatemalan jungle to investigate the disappearance of a Wayne Enterprises geologist who was lost on assignment. Surfacing, Batman is confronted by an armed woman who attempts to shoot an alligator behind him, and after she misses, Batman is dragged underwater and puts the alligator in a freaking headlock, tying its mouth shut with cord and releasing it back into the swamp. Another member of the special ops team tells Batman to get out of the way so that he can shoot the alligator, and Batman refuses to let him, saying that the alligator was innocent as it was only following its nature. He snatches the guy's gun out of his hands and then gives it back to him, saying, "Don't make me take it away from you again." Now facing off with their entire team, Batman tells them that they're going to have to leave so that they don't interfere with his mission. And Seeley, the guy with the gun pointed at Batman, laughs in his face and tells him that their mission is government, and more important. Hyatt, the woman Batman initially saw, tells Seeley that they could use Batman's help, as they had only been there 30 minutes and had already lost all of their gear at the bottom of the swamp. Seeing as their missions both lead in the same direction, Batman agrees to let them come with him, as long as they stay out of his way. Making their way through the jungle, Seeley orders Batman to take point and chop down the foliage, and Batman says, "I don't take orders," which sparks a very brief fight where Batman knocks Seeley onto his ass. The fight is interrupted when they see a gigantic crashed alien spacecraft wedged next to a Mayan temple, which the ops team says is their target. Batman and the team make their way onto the spacecraft, with Hyatt continually trying to get Batman to break his silence while he takes samples from organic matter hanging from a hole in the ceiling. Hearing a scream from ahead, Batman runs in and finds one of the ops team staring at a dead humanoid alien body strung up by organic gunk with a massive hole in its chest. Batman finds a nearby alien egg and a dead facehugger, which he bags for later research as the team discusses what the hell had happened here. After a brief exploration of the rest of the ship, the team returns to the jungle and sets up camp, with one of the men getting annoyed by the constantly howling monkeys and leaving camp to go shoot one. Hyatt takes the opportunity to try again to talk to Batman, asking him why he doesn't use a gun, to which he says he has his reasons. And when he asks her why she's here, she says that her only goal is to gain power and position, hoping to rise through the ranks of the government Black Ops by starting in this team. Hearing a scream from the man who left camp, Batman finds a blood trail and strange footprints leading into the Mayan temple, and leads the team inside to investigate. Traveling deeper into the temple, they come across the Wayne Tech geologist Batman was looking for, killed in the same fashion as the alien aboard the spacecraft, with a facehugger egg and corpse next to him and his chest burst open. Continuing on, they find the ops agent who had left their camp, still alive but hung up in the same organic material as the other bodies, with Batman discovering an already opened egg next to him. The man tells them about the creatures who had brought him down here, put the egg next to him, and the facehugger attaching itself and leaving something alive inside him. And when Batman tries to pull the man down to attempt to save his life, Seeley shoots him in the head, knowing that he was dead already. Suddenly, 3 fully grown xenomorphs crawl down the tunnel and grab Seeley, with him shooting the tiny mouth of one of them and being sprayed in the face with acid blood as a result. Batman manages to pull one of the aliens off of Hyatt with a cord, while the other men scramble to fight off the creatures. One of the men is pinned down and murdered by a xenomorph's little mouth, with Batman desperately fighting to save the others. While Batman is entangled, Seeley gets to his feet and yells out to the aliens, calling them to him and spraying them with gunfire, saying that he'll take at least one of them out with him as he blows himself up with an explosive, bringing a portion of the tunnel ceiling down on top of them and sealing them off from the aliens. Batman finds himself, Hyatt, and a man named Vanderpool, the only 3 left alive, with the batteries on their only light dying, as Batman says that it's only a matter of time before the other 2 aliens find them. Outside, the alligator that Batman had tied up frees itself from the cord and comes up on shore to find an alien egg which snaps open in front of it. As Batman and the others sleep next to a fire, he has a dream about the night his parents were murdered, with the movie being changed to It Came from Outer Space. As the Waynes lead Bruce into the alleyway, Thomas is suddenly beset by a facehugger which strangles and kills him, and Martha suddenly grips her chest as a baby alien bursts out of her, sending the pearls from her necklace bouncing across the alley. Bruce kneels over them and is suddenly Batman again, with his chest expanding out as he yells out, "No!" Batman wakes up and talks to the other two alive about the life cycle of the aliens, having pieced it together from the evidence he had seen thus far, saying that it all points to only 2 adult aliens being left alive. While he says this, we see the alligator having swam into the temple through an underwater passageway, and it thrashes around until a baby alien begins to burst out of its chest. Batman notices that the bats in the cavern had been flying deeper inside, knowing that to mean that there was another exit deeper in, and as they continue, they enter a ceremonial Mayan grotto full of hieroglyphics. Vanderpool is suddenly attacked by one of the remaining 2 aliens, with Batman smashing it with a torch and jumping on its back, becoming entangled with it while Hyatt attempts to shoot it. The other alien appears as well and lifts Hyatt into the air, and Batman manages to fight his way free and save her as well, pushing an explosive into one of the Xenomorphs' mouths and blowing it to pieces. Batman tells them to run for the grotto, pulling a statue down to block the other alien's path, though not killing it. They find themselves in a gigantic water-filled cavern, with one small hole leading to the surface in the ceiling above a giant altar, and while Batman climbs up, Vanderpool is grabbed by the second Xenomorph which had found a way into the cavern, and when he calls to Hyatt for help, she just looks at him stone-faced and fires 2 shots into the air while he's dragged away. Batman hears the shots and rappels down to Hyatt, who is crying fake tears and lies to Batman, saying that she shot the alien, and that it must be dead. She begs Batman to save her, and he pulls her to the top of the altar, which is sitting on top of a closed-off tube of lava, essentially a still-active volcano buried underneath the temple. Batman secures a line to the exit above them, and suddenly Hyatt hits him in the back of the head with the butt of her gun, sending Batman toppling down the altar steps with her chasing behind him. She points her gun at Batman and reveals a tape recorder she had secreted away from the dead Wayne Tech geologist, who had chronicled everything about the aliens and their life cycle before he had died, with her saying that the Xenomorphs were the next stage of biological warfare, and that when she returned with a team to capture the remaining alien, she would be rewarded with a position of power and influence. Batman says that it's insanity to put these aliens in anyone's hands, and then points behind her to a giant fucking Xenomorph that had been born from the alligator that looms over her, grabbing her in its clutches and impaling her with its smaller mouth. It dumps Hyatt's corpse on the floor and leaps after Batman, who manages to dive out of the way and grab the tape recorder. Batman runs up the steps of the altar, grabbing a sword from the ground and slashing the alien, with its acid blood burning holes in the floor, revealing the lava. Batman continues to fight with the gigantic Xenomorph, stabbing it with a spear and causing more and more of its blood to burn through the floor. When enough damage had been done, Batman leaps for his line to the hole in the ceiling, with the floor of the altar crumbling and the Xenomorph falling into the lava pit, burning and melting away. Before he can climb out, Batman is attacked by the alien who had taken Vanderpool, managing to tie it up in his rope line and getting it to bite through that section, dropping it into the lava as well and pulling himself out of the grotto. Batman puts the alien ship to the torch, igniting its fuel line and destroying the entirety of the ship, the temple, and the surrounding area, knowing that it was too dangerous to allow any of it to fall into the wrong hands. Back at the Batcave, Batman studies the dead facehugger he had bagged up, listening to the last words of his geologist and telling Alfred that he isn't finished, picking up the tank with the facehugger and carrying it deep into the cave. Batman says that any piece of evidence that this ordeal had happened has to be destroyed, including the facehugger, dropping it into a deep chasm and preparing to go tell his geologist family of his passing. And that wraps up Batman Aliens, a really fun 2-issue crossover event between 2 extremely different franchises, mixing Batman's detective skills and superhero abilities with the science fiction horror of the Aliens franchise, to a result that I actually really like. Intercompany crossovers are an iffy proposition, but when done right they can be pretty damn cool, and Batman Aliens is a great example of how to do them the right way. Like I said before, they actually did a sequel to Batman Aliens, which I may cover in a future video, and if you'd like to see that or if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, leave me a comment telling me what you thought of Batman Aliens, and subscribe to my channel. Also make sure to go check out the comic history playlist on my channel for all sorts of other great stories. Go follow me on Twitter at Roman_RNS, and on Facebook at facebook.com/RNS Entertainment Channel. You can also go check out our Patreon if you'd like to commission a comic history episode or just help support the channel and keep it going, and I'll see you guys next time.